Hello everyone and welcome to Heel Mania. And before we begin, I just want to say I am not a good fantasy booker. I have never done fantasy booking before this video. But I do like writing, and most writers also enjoy, fan fiction to an extent. And that's all fantasy booking is. It's fan fiction for this stupid wrestling thing we're all obsessed with. And so, what I wanted to try and aspire to make here today is how I would book Asuka's debut on the main roster of WWE. And I'm going to try to do that without trying to go too into the future and also trying not to make too many other storylines because that's how WWE works. One storyline feeds into a million different ones. But a couple things I want to establish here. I'm not gonna just make Asuka this amazing character. I'm not gonna put her as a champion day one. There's gonna be a build here, and I'm gonna start things off with Money in the Bank, which is a pretty up and coming pay per view. So Money in the Bank. Let's have 5 female women go for the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's assuming we're still doing that. And these 5 women are going to be Charlotte, Becky, Carmella, Tamina, and Natalia, all going for the briefcase. And as you can see, that's an obvious storyline thing going on right now where the welcoming committee is fighting or feuding with Charlotte, Becky, and Naomi. And I want Naomi to be on commentary for this. I think having the champion on commentary for a Money in the Bank match makes sense, especially since she's part of this clique. And before this pay-per-view, I'm going to, it's almost too late for it, but let's try to get the friendship between these 3 women as much as possible. Charlotte and Becky especially. Charlotte and Becky, I want to be best friends, and I know they're good friends in real life, so it shouldn't be that hard. It's a good way to make Charlotte a face. So, going into this match, there's going to be a big surprise entrance that no one even knows about, just out of nowhere. Daniel Bryan says, also the 6th member of this match, Asuka. Asuka comes down. She's still NXT champion, by the way. She is still NXT champion. Asuka comes down to the ring. She destroys everybody. She's in the middle of the ring. She's about to go catch this title, and then everyone swarms back into the ring to stop her. And suddenly, it becomes about taking out Asuka. These 2 teams that hate each other suddenly develop a bond just to take out Asuka because they realize she's an actual huge threat and might be getting this briefcase. So the match continues for a while, but the theme of we have to defeat Asuka together remains. They keep fighting, and then there needs to just be a devastating spot. The dealt to Asuka. Anything, I would prefer if it was done kind of near the entrance ramp, and it involved multiple ladders, breaking through multiple ladders, whatever you do, go through a bunch of tables, something that just says Asuka's out of this match. They're going to throw her off, just destroy her. She's down in this rubble, she's done. And she's obviously gonna come back into the match towards the end. But the match suddenly becomes a 3-on-2 handicap match, practically. We got this welcoming committee that just has these numbers, and, they're just beating the heck out of Becky and Charlotte. And once we get into the thick of this match, it suddenly isn't even about this briefcase anymore. These 3 women are trying to take out Charlotte and Becky. And that's when Naomi is like, no, I'm not having it. She runs down, championship in her hand, goes out there to help defend her friends. They get the upper hand. They suddenly are winning. They're winning. They take out the welcoming committee. 1, 2, 3. They're all out. Big moves, big finishers. And then the 3 women stand proud in the ring. And that's when Becky suddenly picks up Naomi's championship and clocks her on the back of the head with it. And that's when Charlotte turns around, just kind of confused, just kind of like, what? Then, boom, championship, side of the face, big spot. Charlotte is out. And at this point, Becky just goes hard on Naomi for a little bit, just destroys her, just to make an example, just to get her out of this equation. And then she starts going up the ladder, and no one is around. Becky is about to win this thing. And that's when Charlotte, boom, comes out of nowhere. She starts climbing the ladder, but suddenly you realize she's not going to win. Charlotte just took too big of a blow with this title, and she is like barely awake, and she's trying to stop Becky, but when she gets to the top of the ladder, it's almost like she just asks her why. She just asks her why. I want the camera to actually be on her face, and she asks why. And that's when Becky, with the title still in hand, clocks Charlotte down. She lets the belt drop with it. And then she looks over, and that's when she sees Asuka on the ramp walking towards her. And Asuka, she's still just obliterated from that huge spot earlier. She got ganged up on by 5 women. She's just barely limping down, and she makes eye contact with Becky. And right after that, she kind of stumbles and falls. And that's when Becky retrieves the briefcase and is the new Mrs. Money in the Bank. After like a minute of celebrating, Becky cuts, a hard promo on her teammates. She's like just saying heel stuff, getting all this heat, and that's finally when Asuka makes it back into the ring. She gets in there, and then Becky freaks out, gets out of the ring, and then Asuka, I don't know like how comfortable she is making a promo. I would like if she made a promo just saying, when you cash in that briefcase, I'm going to be the one coming after you. And if she's not comfortable doing that, then just have the announcers say that via, they had serious eye contact, and that's what they mean by that. So obviously, we're going to have to make some break time for Becky to have the briefcase and for Asuka to keep doing her thing down in NXT. She is going to just go back to NXT for a little bit. That was like this big surprise, technically debuted. I don't want her to, immediately waste all of that, heat by just being on SmackDown every week. So if I had to, fill in some time, I would probably have Tamina go for the belt. Tamina, I think is, if I had to just pick a random person off the roster who I think deserves the belt for a tiny bit, which we're gonna go into, someone to take the title off of Naomi. It doesn't really matter if she's a face or heel in today's WWE landscape. She just needs, maybe if she like fought the welcoming committee, she's like, fuck this. She became a face, fought Naomi in a face versus face, and then Tamina looking strong with the belt. And that's when Becky cashes in. Becky cashes in, she's the new women's champ. Tamina at least got the belt and can say she's a former women's champion. If they want to do something, big with her, she can get into more feuds, maybe win it back down the line. The next night on SmackDown, or 2 nights I should say, I'd prefer if that was on like a big 4 pay-per-view, but if not, then it's whatever. Becky has a championship. She's, celebrating. She's just heel all day. Becky's the greatest. And that's when Asuka comes out of nowhere and beats the shit out of her. Just beats the shit out of her. Following that, just have maybe not squash matches, but just matches and skits that make Asuka look like a badass. Promos. Make Becky scared of her. I think Becky as a chicken shit heel wouldn't be that bad. She's lost enough matches that I think it would be hard to make her this kind of monster heel, so we'll just do that. I don't want Asuka to win the title right away. I want Becky to be an established champion considering her last reign didn't last all that long. Um, I would do this via maybe, shenanigans, maybe at least one pay per view where she wins via some bullshit, make it any way you want, there's a million ways. And Asuka just fucking destroys her uh, on the next big four pay per view. Um, if she wins the title, I want it to be a big deal. I want it to be on a big stage, and I want her to take out a formidable heel. And if that heel is going to be Becky, then I want Becky to actually have the championship for a good amount of time. So this would accomplish a lot of things. One, Becky looks good. She gets a championship reign. She's a heel now. Tamina looks good for a while. And Asuka is now, instead of, just becoming the champion immediately, she gets she shows up for these big pay-per-views, and it's a big deal. She gets a big pop. What would I do with her NXT championship? I would probably have her lose it on just a normal NXT show, like after Money in the Bank, or not after Money in the Bank, after she debuts. That way she has kind of weight to what she's doing on, kind of like Kevin Owens. But I don't. It's so obvious, like, whenever they lose their belt, they're going to be on Raw or SmackDown the next week. So I just would prefer just do it, like, make it seem like she's on NXT for a while before she moves over. Anyway, I think that's how I would make Asuka debut on the roster. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you have different ideas? Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think Asuka deserves better or worse? Let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this edition of Heel Mania, and with that, I leave you.